So we're back at the Raritan Valley Hi-Railers with Matt Sniffen here once again for the final update of this power plant module, and it's looking good. So we're going to take a look at a preview of what you guys are going to expect to see at the train show coming up in Edison.
Thanksgiving weekend, November.
November, okay. So Edison, November, Greenberg show. So we'll take a look here and look at some of the stuff that he's done. Well, let's start off with the end area. And Matt's always known for his wonderful details. Wow. I just love this shop area and what you've done with it.
It's really, you love the little deck man that's there.
yeah, he's standing right there. You know, I finally got my lifts. I don't know if you've seen it.
I saw one thing. not as nice as the lifts you have here, but yeah, but they'll work.
And you've been working on this all summer long.
All summer.
Yeah.
I figure I did a half-assed calculation. I figure I got about 350 hours in it. Because I've been working on it 6 months. I mean, I've been working on it after the March show. I tore these apart and started working on this.
I mean, I'm even looking at the different stuff that you put on the back of the truck, the different color cable reels and stuff.
Well, those would be like all the different lubricants.
Yeah.
Because that's like a service truck. So you'd have you would know more about that, the different grade oils and stuff that they use. And
so what did you use for that?
it's a colored wire.
Colored wire?
Yeah, you can buy it at Michael's. They sell it for, it's if you go into the beading aisle, where the only reason I know this is because my daughters used to do all kinds of bead bracelets and everything. There's all kinds of neat stuff in that aisle that I've found uses for. That's all the insulators for the telephone poles are all beads and different stuff. So,
okay, but just the amount of details you even put into the vehicles and stuff, it's just insane. I mean, I could go crazy just looking at the
that was my goal with these, is that, I want people to just get lost in looking at everything on here.
And that's exactly what's happening to me already.
Check out these smokestacks. I can only leave them on for a little bit because they really smoke.
Okay.
They take a minute to fire up. Once they get going, you'll see it'll fill this up here. Like I'll have to turn it up. Like it'll be fine at Greenberg because it's but there's little fans in there too. That once it gets going, it'll start to.
Wow. And those are those ones that are meant for ships, right?
For the model boats, harbor models.
Yeah, you're not kidding.
So we'll definitely be breaking the EPA laws.
Breaking the EPA laws.
All right, I think that's enough of that.
Yeah. I like how all this came out. East Pump House. I'm glad I'm doing this now because I'm going to say, once you get this to the show, you're going to have mobs of people just looking at this.
Well, there's been so many people on Instagram that are like, I can't wait to see it at the show, and so.
Get closer.
So yeah, I think last time you were here, I don't think any of this was done. I don't think these so yeah, it's been a busy summer.
I guess so, yeah.
I mean, I was basically out here every weekend, so at least putting 20 hours a weekend in out here.
Wow. I just love the lights and just everything came out really good.
Yeah, I tried to count. I mean, I got up to about 5, close to 600, and I don't know. I don't know. Because that's a question people do ask at the shows. How many lights are on this thing? I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 700 maybe.
And you made the fencing as well?
Made the fencing as well. So that's That's just actually a heavy gauge chicken wire, but the square chicken wire. You know, like a they use for like a dog pen or something.
It just looks so real the way you do
So I
it.
cut it down to what I need, and then I add the cross pieces, the bracing, and then the mesh is actually a fine mesh that's made by the same company that makes Sculptamold, and it's for doing sculptures. You know, it's so that you can create the shape you want, and then you plaster over it.
Okay.
But it's a diamond shape, which I thought it's like a perfect gauge for O.
Oh yeah, it is.
And it comes in big sheets, so I can do 4-foot sections at a time of fencing.
I just like how this pump house came out. I mean, even the detailing in that. You got
look at the guy doing the inspection in the one water tank. There's even a light down there. But him getting lowered into the tank to do his inspection.
Okay, we'll take a look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. So he's actually getting.
But even this little panel, electrical panel, see the little flashing light on there? Like I've got a little flashing light in there.
Yep.
You laugh. There's so much detail on this thing that I'll go back and look at stuff that I did, back in April, and I'll be like, oh crap, I don't remember doing that. That's pretty cool.
This is you even put lights inside of the that piece there.
Oh, the condensing unit?
Condensing it, yeah, that's it. Wow. I mean, I just love the LEDs on the.
Well, I like the mix. There are some incandescents on here, but I also changed the color. So those ones that are a whiter color LED, those are cool.
Okay.
And then the ones that are the warmer color. But I mixed them because to me, I think the cool ones kind of look a little bit like a mercury vapor.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it looks like.
So I like changing up the different ones just because if you've ever. I mean, I had to pick my daughter up a couple of weekends ago from the airport, and I was driving past, and it was late, so it was like 1 o'clock in the morning, and I'm driving past the refineries down on the turnpike, and I'm like, that's exactly the look I was looking for. You look there, there's all different kinds of lighting, and I mean, they actually have more lights than I have. I was like, I could never replicate that. But once you see when I turn the lights off in here, you get a real idea how many lights are on this thing. It's a shame that Greenberg doesn't allow us to shut the lights off for a little bit. I'm assuming that would probably be a fire code or a safety issue.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, this just blows me away.
And then the other detail I did, I think I don't know if I showed you this, but there's details in the boilers. So at the show, I could shut off the lights inside there, and then you could really get the boiler details. You can see the flames in all the boilers.
Yeah. Yeah. That's cool. You got the office all done?
That's the control area. That's where they do the weighing with the scale, because that's supposed to simulate the scale in the front, because they would weigh. That's how they know how much coal's coming in. So
you even got flashing computer lights in there.
Oh yeah, no, that's all. And then next on the building next to it, that's all the offices.
Okay.
And then the higher one, that's the basically like the interlocking tower where they just do all the switching and everything for.
Yeah, like I said, I'm glad I'm being able to come behind the scenes now, because I'm sure this area is going to be mobbed with people just looking at this.
Yeah, no, you would have to get there like 2 hours before the show opened. Which, I mean, we're there. We get there at Saturday. They allow us in at 7, but we're usually still finishing setting up, because they normally don't give us enough time on Friday to set up. Like we can't get in there at 1 o'clock, and then they throw us out at 6:30 or 7 o'clock.
Throw us out. Yeah, this is crazy detail.
Yeah, every desk has a light at it. They've got all the papers and books. And
wow. But even for the amount of detail you put into this, it's still, you've done this pretty quickly.
I mean, like I said, I've been working on it for 6 months. When I think when was the last time you were here?
Yeah, I mean, for me to put something like this together, up here a couple of years.
Well, as I always tell people, I don't build stuff to be museum quality.
Right.
You know, so I don't count every rivet and every bolt and every, you know, areas that I know I can get away with not having to add detail. I don't. You know, just because if you can't see it, what's the point?
Right.
This isn't being judged. I'm not going for my master modeler.
Master modeler.
You'd laugh. I've been asked by a couple guys, why don't I do it? And I'm like, because I don't. First of all, I'm not a big fan of. I don't like being judged.
Oh, okay.
So I have a problem with authority. But I don't. It's a hobby. I do it for fun.
Right. Yeah, I understand.
When same thing when people ask, you know, can you build me something? I'll pay you for it. I was like, I don't do this for money. I was like, it's if I do it where then I have to do it, then it becomes not fun anymore.
Yeah, I totally get that. Yeah.
Well, you understand. Look, you had to cut back with your videos.
Yeah.
This was getting to be too much.
Yeah, it is. It was. It does become overbearing sometimes with certain things.
Well, because you feel like there's people out there expecting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you don't want to disappoint.
Right. Yeah, this is very well detailed.
Stringing all those wires wasn't. That was a task. There was a lot of cursing going on here that day.
And these transformer stations, they're Woodland Scenics.
That's Woodland Scenics, yeah.
Still, I mean.
And that's the other way you save time too. I mean, you have to budget how you want to spend your money.
Right.
You know, so some things I splurge. Obviously, my big splurges were the Woodland Scenics pieces and the rotary. Which, you know, once you shoot your video, then we'll fire up the rotary and start dumping some cars. But like the trucks, like all the trucks are all from New Ray, so I mean they're all very inexpensive. I mean you can pick those things up on eBay for less than $20.
Yeah.
I mean I did a lot of work to them. When you get them, they're just white blobs. You know they have no. So like I painted the back, I pulled them apart and made them that. You know basically, you know we have our electrical company here is JCP&L. I kind of just mimicked the JCP&L truck.
And what did you use for paint? Spray? Did you spray?
I use spray, the spray cans. Yeah, I got a paint booth in there. I just use regular. You know, when I get some downtime in the shop, I do want to invest in an airbrush, but I know there's a learning curve with it. You know, I need to. So right now, I just use a spray can.
Yeah, I mean, it came out really well. That's what I was asking. I mean,
it's for especially because if you ever saw JCP&L trucks, they literally look like they paint them with spray cans because they're beat to hell. Like they're utility trucks. They take a beating.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like it came that way, actually, the way you painted them. I mean, did you use like a fusion paint on them or like a regular spray?
I used the, you have to forgive me, I'm getting over something, so I'm losing my voice.
That's all right.
I use, it's Rust-Oleum. It's the
Okay.
Primer Plus paint one. I guess it is the Fusion one that's, but I think the Fusion I think that's Krylon.
Yeah.
So I buy from Home Depot. So I think Krylon's sold by Lowe's. I think Rust-Oleum is Home Depot. But yeah, so I pull them apart. They're very easy to take apart. So I take the whole back off. So your cab was separate, and then you know some of the booms are hard to pull apart. So where you see like the white and the thing, I just masked it off.
Okay.
Just masking tape, and then just give it a You still go light with the paint, like don't because it will run quick.
Oh, okay.
So sometimes if something doesn't cover, you might have to do a couple of light coats. That color happened to cover pretty quick.
Yeah, that looks great.
And then added lights where I needed to add lights and.
want to come over this way and I want some footage so I can.
And then, I did all the abandoned track in the back where it used to be. I even did like an abandoned coal car back there, cut in. So that's a 2-rail piece that I bought. So I got that pretty inexpensive. Actually, the story is I actually saw that in pictures at a power plant in, I think, West Virginia. So they had put in a rotary coal dump. So the old drop-off that they used to use, they just left it there because, obviously real estate down there is, it's not like they're going to develop it. So it had the old abandoned track in the back all grown. I kind of like that look, so I mimic that same look here. Like that's how the coal used to be delivered to the plant.
Yeah, that came out really nice, the abandoned line. I really like that.
And then if you keep going right, because you'll see the abandoned line keeps going along back behind here. But then over here where the old drop-off actually is, down there, that I made it look like that even the old grills and everything are all rusted out, so they put fence up so that nobody can get hurt back there.
Oh yeah.
But then they took a boxcar and left it there and cut it out and created a locker room out of it.
A locker room?
So if you look inside, it's like a break room. If you look in there, there's actually lockers in there. There's a table in there. There's chairs.
Oh my. You ain't kidding.
The funny thing is I've had a couple guys look at that. They're like, "There's nobody in there." I said, so the real story, I said, I'll tell you what the fake story is. The fake story is because they're not on break, everybody's working. I said, the real story is, I said, I got it all back together, put together, and I forgot to put the people in there. And I was like, I'm not pulling this thing apart again. Put people in there, so I was like, they're all working.
There you go. Yeah, I do like that.
Yeah, and all the lockers and everything, it's just all out of styrene.
I like the water tower too. That came out nice.
So that's a Walters piece that I just painted. So that I didn't weather because I wanted that to look like they just painted it. Because if you drive by power plants, they're dirty, but they're not rusted and falling apart. They do maintain them.
Right.
So that's kind of the look I went for here. So basically all my weathering is just a black India wash ink, just to give it the dirty look, but not like it's going to explode look.
Yeah, it's nice. So basically, what's going to happen is this module here is going to go on the other end of that.
Yeah, this scene is 4 modules, so it's 16 feet.
Wow, this one scene is, so if I wanted to have something like this at home, it would cost me 16 feet of space.
You could maybe condense it down even a little bit more. I spread it out a little bit just because I had the 16 feet.
Yeah,
but
I don't see how, because I like the size of it.
Yeah, actually. No, this would cost you 16 feet. You wouldn't have to be this wide because obviously you don't need 4 tracks.
Right.
So you'd probably only be 2 foot wide.
This is pretty nice. I'm just totally amazed how this came out.
Well, like where you're at right now, that's not even really something that can be seen by the public. We see that, but I do that a lot. You see what you see with our modules. You come into the layout and you can see it all, but
yeah.
But I always tell everybody, it's nice for us to have something to look at too while we're at this.
Yeah, exactly. Why not?
I even did a little scene in the back of that building.
Yeah, that's what I was heading towards.
So those 2 boilers are like the boilers that just do the heat inside this building. But then I've got a service truck in there that's, got a boom on it that they're doing work on the boilers.
Wow. I like how you got the, not only do you have the roof details, but you got, water laying up there.
Yeah, so that's, you can see this is still kind of white here. It hasn't fully dried. But that's Mod Podge.
Okay.
It does take a long time to dry. Especially when you put it on thick. And then that building there, the back where you see the yellow.
Yes.
So that I kind of mimicked like a metal building. And the only reason I did that is because I ran out of that brick. Which I had a feeling I was going to. And that was it. Remember, when I originally showed you, I
yeah.
said that they discontinued making that. So I bought every bit I could find, but I couldn't find any more.
So if you ever wanted to build anything else later on, what would you use?
Well, now there are companies out there that do laser cut brick. I don't know. I mean, this stuff's awesome. I'm really sad that they do. Knox still makes a brick paper. It's not quite as realistic looking as this stuff.
Yeah, that stuff is realistic. Yeah, this came out amazing. Amazing.
Ready to do some night scene?
Yeah, let's do a night scene. Let's see what this thing looks like at
All right,
nighttime.
show.
So this is pretty bright.
Yeah, you get an idea now how many lights there are when the lights are off. Like that's a nice detail. See up the smokestacks?
Yes.
Those lights? So that's Evans' design. They sell, so that's the 12 light string. They also have a 26 light string, and those are chip lights.
Okay. So it's like perfect for smokestacks and bridges.
That's
and
actually, if you look on their website, when you're looking at those, that's one of the details that they show to use it for. All the flashing lights are Evans. Basically, all the LEDs are Evans. I do get my incandescents from Minitronics. And again, Minitronics is expensive, but I don't have issues with because there are some cheaper ones, but they seem to burn out pretty quick. The ones from Minitronics, I mean, you could see like those cold tipples and stuff I built those things 6 years ago, and every light still works on them.
Wow.
Not that they're on, you figure they're on 8 hours, so they're on 16 hours a weekend.
Right.
For 5 or 6 times a year.
I mean, LEDs, if they're a good LED, they should have thousands of hours.
The LEDs I think are, I know like the LEDs you use in your house, like, that mimic the recess cans.
Right.
Those are supposedly good for like 30,000 hours or something.
Right.
I don't know what these little ones are good for. But you're talking, they're on for 16 to 32. Less than 100 hours a year. So they'll last longer than these modules probably will. 5-6 years, I'll get tired of these things, rip them apart, and do something different. Well, we talk about that all the time. We're all getting older. We're like, how many more years can we do this? Because it's a lot of work. The shows are a lot of work. I know, you're like, oh, you're playing with trains, can't come up. But being down on your knees, crawling around underneath this thing, getting things set up, and then taking it down, it's a long weekend.
Yeah, I think people, when they show up to a train show, they don't realize, they just see everything all set up. I don't think they see the actual, what it takes to put something like this together.
No, it takes probably about 10 hours, maybe not that long. Maybe 8 hours total to put the layout together. That's with, obviously, that's not me, but that's, we've got a bunch of members.
Right.
And these are actually, this is 5 pieces. It's these 4 modules, and then that building with the smokestacks on the back is a separate piece that actually pops off the back. I did that because I wanted to, obviously all these go in racks. So I wanted to limit the space of the rack, so I made that piece separate on the back.
Right.
But it's a shame, because the Giuliani Power Company, something like those are all lit and everything, but you lose that when the lights are on.
Yeah.
And that's why it's it's neat to see it like this, because you see a lot more detail than.
That's for sure. So yeah, it does, the lighting does come up a lot better in the dark, for sure.
Well, you see the amount there is. Could you imagine, we can run the tipple and a little bit, and we can do it. There's enough light you can see what you're doing.
See, I'm going to give a general look over for everybody right now so they can see the amount of lights that are put into this. Because that's one thing that the Raritan Valley Hi-Railers were always known for, the amount of lights that you guys use.
That's me. That's my obsession. I love putting lights and stuff. I love figuring out ways to get lights and things. To get lights and things and hide the wiring and hide it the best I can.
Right. I mean, I've seen you put lights in little tiny forklifts and hide the wire. Pretty good. So.
Yeah, there's one of those over there. Over by the little warehouse over there. Most of the lights I use like on a forklift, I'd use a chip light because that's about the size. But like then that little truck that you're right in front of there,
yes,
its work light, that's a Deca light. It's a better size for that.
Okay.
But when you paint them up and everything, and I mean that is the LED you're looking at. It's just the shape of it and everything. So what I do is I paint the back of it silver to make look at that's the housing of the light. But they actually are a good shape for a light. They're easy to hide.
And now I get this. I missed this the first time, but there's actually a spotlight on this.
Yeah, that's what I mean. He's just this one. He's just got that one spotlight on because he's working on the.
Yeah.
So I mimicked that. There's another light over here, but it's just not on.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's perfect. I mean, I didn't even catch that when the lights were on. So I see what you mean about how you can miss certain light features and details and when the lights are on. And
these are all these ideas I come up with. They're not like I'm this brilliant person that has these are all things I see. I mean, anybody who's ever been in a blackout and seen the power company going around, they drive around, usually a pickup truck like that with the one light on shining up at the pole to see where which those big giant breakers up there, which one's tripped, so that they know where to start and to reset and.
Right. So it's just pretty much paying attention to what's going on.
Watching what's going on in life. I do a lot of Google searches online to try to find pictures of things. And
oh, man, this came out really nice.
Now, remember last time we were here, that arrow signboard?
Yes.
It doesn't work anymore.
Oh.
Don't ask me what happened to it. It just, all of a sudden, one light was out. And then I have turned it on another time and 4 of them were out. And then it was down to 2 were working and now none work. So.
Oh, no.
That's just one of those, I have no idea. So that was a Miniatronics piece. I will never buy another one of those again. I don't know if it had a reaction to the glue that I used on. I don't know what happened. So. Chalk that one up to.
Well, at least I got video of it.
And in all reality, they wouldn't be traveling down the road with it. I mean, sometimes you do see them just a straight bar.
Yeah.
But that's fine. I don't get really upset about. We have members that have brought their grandkids and stuff, and they've sometimes accidentally broken something, and they feel so. And I'm like, don't. I was like. It's a repair, just like and a lot of times my repairs turn into actually renovating and doing something else with it. I was like, gives me an excuse to work on it.
Yeah, there you go. And so, it's funny that you mentioned the 5-year thing, but do you actually really change your modules out every so often? Or?
We're constantly, you can see we're constantly changing stuff. I mean, it depends if members want to spend the money. I think you're going to see less change coming. I mean, we have some things we want to change and stuff, but the layout really has been renovated in the last 5. I mean, everybody, I redid one member's modules a couple of years ago, the one that's got all the other industrial area.
Right.
Those are Bobby's. He runs the Alaska trains.
Yeah.
I did Hal's last year. So there's really not a lot of modules that need to be redone.
Yeah, I was just wondering if you just changed them up, like you said, 5 years later, then.
Well, if I was going to change anything, but everybody, because the oldest modules now are the ones that have all the big tipples on them. which are the ones I have in the front.
Yes.
And, you know, everybody loves those. They're like, you can't change those.
yeah, they do. That is the big attraction. Is those.
So I guess, you know, we can't add any more because, I mean, we're already too big that Greenberg really only lets us have the full layout, like maybe once, twice a year. And other times they limit us in size.
Oh, really?
Because they just not in the room.
Okay.
So we can't expand. I mean, I guess we could do different modules and change up the look of the layout occasionally, but then it's a storage issue. You know, where do you keep all this stuff?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, if you remember, remember we had the whole yard that used to go into the thing, and we had that Brockway glass building where the trains went through the Y and into the back. Like that's all out in Pennsylvania. It's at a member's house in his basement. I doubt we'll ever bring it back because that was actually a pain in the ass to set up. And the problem with that is that it cut the layout in half. You know, you had to walk around it all the time. So a lot of the members, the older members, didn't really like it anyway.
Oh, okay. So what's your best estimate on lights again?
I think there's probably about 700 on here.
700 lights just for this updated module.
Yeah.
Wow. And we did a walk around, so I can see the 700 lights.
Well, you got to remember inside. I mean, there's probably like that building's got 2 of the 26 light strings to light it. So
oh wow.
You know, when I'm counting lights, I'm counting them as individual.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, this is just really one piece. You know,
right.
So it's not like I had to connect 700 different lights. That's the nice thing with the string. The strings they only started making, like my original when I first started using Evans stuff, they didn't have the string lights. So if I wanted to mimic something, that was individual lights. And then they probably about, I don't know, 4 years ago maybe, they came out with the string lights. They had stuff all the time, like that fire detail and all that, and the flickering lights and that's all Evans. They come up with some neat stuff.
This is just so nice. Man, that sounds good.
Yeah, that's the Tsunami sound system. That is the beauty of the dead rail. And I can run anytime, anywhere.
I mean, it sounds just like the real thing. Right there. So it's a fully automated operation.
Oh yeah, you just push one button and it's all totally automated. But you can see time-wise. So I have 14 rotary coal cars that I modified. I've lettered for the Raritan Valley Coal Company and leathered up. So I'm going to do it in 2 cuts of 7. But I mean, as you can see, each cut will take you 20 to 25 minutes to unload.
Actually, that's perfect for the train show.
Yeah. You figure, I'll dump a couple of cars. If there's a big crowd around, I'll save that last car for the license plate. And then that idler car you see in the front, I made that too.
I was just going to ask you about that. You did mention that you would need an idler car to be prototypical to do this.
Yeah, they usually don't. I mean, you don't have to have something like that. It could just be in, but they usually don't want the engine that close to the rotary.
Okay.
But that car lights up and everything too when it's powered to the track. I can throw a transformer on it so you can see it.
Nice.
I'll put a transformer on there so you can see that.
Oh yeah, there he is.
All caged in so that no air piece of coal comes flying through the glass and kills him. And then just to give you an idea, so like what I was saying, when it breaks down, so the only piece that's not permanent on this is this. So that comes off, it's tethered there, and that's just because there's a separation here.
Oh.
So that comes off there, and then there's two large wing nuts underneath here, and then this whole back piece comes off.
Okay.
And then the rest of those modules are all, and then there's nothing not, everything's attached. So like you could take all these things and flip them upside down, nothing will fall off.
That's nice.
Hopefully. But that's how you make the ease of, yeah, because the other question we get all the time is how do you set all this up? And I'm like, well, obviously we couldn't put all this on, so it's all mounted. And then at the show, it's just we're plug and play.
Yeah, that makes it go a lot easier. And so I am seeing something in the background.
So yeah, this is
Do you have like a secret project going on
This is a
here?
future project we're working on. So I'm building a flow loader. I made the chute, so that is the actual chute that's going to be used. The rest of it's just a mock-up right now.
Okay.
So the chute I made with two actuators, so that once the engine pulls through and clears the thing, then I'll have a switch that I can hit to lower the chute.
Wow.
And then it's a manually operated. So basically, this is like a backflow valve that plumbers use to backflow thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm still getting used to it, but then. So and then I'll have a closed circuit camera TV that I can watch. So once the one car gets loaded, I can let it pull it through and open up.
Nice.
Load the cars. And that hopper holds a gallon and a half. So it'll fill probably close to about 6-7 cars.
So I'm going to assume that your plan is to have it so you can actually fill your hopper cars up with coal, deliver it to your power plant, offload them, and just continue the cycle.
Yep. And then once obviously the coal's loaded, you'd put the chute back up, continue to go.
Oh, wow. And you actually are using a picture of a real one.
So yeah, the picture over there is the one that I'm going to mimic, color and everything. I just like the way that one looks. So that's the flood loader I'm going to mimic.
Do you know where this is located or what?
Virginia.
Virginia.
Somewhere in Virginia. Yeah, but I mean, I'm a big coal guy, so that's what I like to mimic. If you want pictures, I mean, there's the Appalachia is your biggest coal country. So, well, especially the I mean, you know, you got the Permian Basin and stuff is a pretty big, but I like the older coal areas, you know,
Right.
like Pennsylvania and Virginia. And,
So you're actually going to skin this thing? To
well,
make
this is a mock-up. This is not the frame that's going to get used. It's gonna be, I just mocked that up so that I could show you. So the only thing this is going to be built around. Yeah, it's going to be skinned around inside. This will be hidden. This will be, you know, the only piece that's going to be used right now. And then the cable will actually come down the chute, the conveyor chute. That's how I'm going to hide that. And then it'll come up and actually be in top the tabletop mounted like this. And then the switch, that's a that switch is a polarity changing switch, because that's all you do is you got to see it here.
Oh yeah.
That switch, so that's the up and down. It just changes the polarity. Is all it does to make the actuators work.
Okay.
So that'll be here, and I'll be able to control. And then when I'm going through, and I'll have a little monitor, TV monitor, because like I said, there'll be little closed circuit TVs, so I can kind of watch because it's going to be probably about 3 feet away, so I'm not going to be able to get a good eye at it, so I can make sure I don't overload the cars.
Right.
And then that's it. As it goes through, you kind of just feather this up and down. And I was trying to figure out a way to make this automatic too, but I'm like, you know something? It's probably going to be more fun being actually controlling it. Like, you are the one really loading the coal cars.
Yeah, yeah.
And this is pretty idiot-proof. So you don't pull it all the way up, because you'll bury that car in a pile of coal in about 3 seconds. As you can see, I've already done. Because believe it or not, before you got here this morning, I was practicing, because I was like, I don't want to look like an idiot. And first thing I did was I opened it all the way, and it was like, I was like, all right, that's too much. So you don't really have to open it a lot.
Right.
And it works great. I thought I was going to have trouble with the coal getting caught up in there, and I was going to have to and it doesn't. It flows perfect. I could open that right now, and that'll just completely, slowly empty out.
That's nice. That's a good idea.
So, and nothing, I mean, the owner of Millhouse, River Studios, he's making one. And I'm sure his will be awesome and be, bulletproof and everything else, but it's also going to probably be a couple grand. And I'm like, I'm just not spending, so, because his is going to be fully automatic. It's going to have the sensors and everything that, but mine is a little more labor. I mean, the thing is, in real life, when they come in, they have to flip a lever or flip a button to lower the chute down, and then they have to, open up the discharge. And so, I mean, mine's going to kind of be, and then I'm going to hide all the controls and everything, kind of like there will be a building sitting here, just kind of like a flat, and it'll be hidden behind.
I didn't realize that Millhouse was working on that too.
I have a picture of it. Yeah, if you go on his website,
okay,
he actually did a mock-up that he was showing people at one of the York shows. And it's just, if you go on the website right now, it just says coming.
Okay.
But it isn't out yet. And then there'll be like the skin of this will be kind of like here. So that's about all the chute you'll see. Because these actuators they're the smallest ones I could find, but they're kind of big. But you won't really, you'll see probably like about that much of it. So you'll just really see the piston coming down, dropping
okay.
it. That, and then this is actually a loader too. That is New Jersey Hi-Railers for their layout. So that's an automatic loader too that one of the members made. It's pretty intricate, but they used to hide it with just an old sonotube, and it looked horrible. So I'm actually, another project I'm doing this winter is I'm building a building to go around that to hide it.
Okay.
For New Jersey Hi-Railers.
That's cool.
So I've got a busy winter.
That's so cool. Very nice.
Yeah, those are the transformers. We have 6 of these that powers the layout.
Those are 300-watt transformers, and you have 6 of them?
There's 6 of them. So we don't overheat anything. Then we just do, we do an inline fuse.
Oh, yeah, okay. Very nice.
But I did these modules, 2 years ago. I think this was the first video you ever came and shot here, was when I was working on these. This goes together with the scene that has the little trestle thing that has the coal barge going underneath.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I remember now.
And then Rominsky's, because this was done after Fred Rominsky was one of the founding members that passed away.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, this was one of the first ones that I've done behind the scenes on, isn't it?
Yeah. Another spot you can drop off cars. Because that siding actually continues on to the next module.
Right.
Yeah, a little shop's neat. Actually kind of reminds me a little bit of this one. Because this shop, those big sliding doors in the front, those used to be, I used to have those here.
Oh.
I used to get into the shop. Years ago, this was a wood shop. This is where I did all my woodworking. And I had two big doors like that on the front here. I